Cool. Just call it just will not stop looking raggedy. Oh. You good?
Yeah.
Okay, I know you still doing your sound check. Okay. How the rest of the stream go? I had to lay down after I clocked out a little bit after the near the end of the Ironheart talk.
That was pretty much the basis of the podcast. We just did that and then just recommendations and stuff.
Okay.
It was already running long by the time we got to that point. So
Ooh. All right. There was a video I meant to share with you from this comic guy I follow. Uh, is Anthony? I'll say Mag. I don't know. Let me see if I can. Oh, I have to switch. But anyway, he made a video. He made a really cool video about Superman not being. Oh, here it is. Anthony. I don't know. I have no idea how to spell his name. I'll send you the video afterwards. It's a pretty good video about them changing Superman from Truth, Justice, and American Way to Truth, Justice, and a Better Tomorrow.
I remember when that happened. It was a lot of hubbub.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We can actually try to get into it. Go ahead. I'm good to go. All right. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Vote Expressions. I'm here once again with the Edge of Geek Set.
Oh, I didn't know if that was the intro. My
No,
fault.
no, it's my fault. It's something in my throat. Geek Set. What's up, dude?
Oh, it's going good. Thank you for having me. It's been a long day.
Yeah, I for me as well. But we're here to follow up on our conversation with about Superman, which comes out this Tuesday.
Yeah, so the Amazon early screenings will be on Tuesday. Then general release starts obviously Thursday. Are you going to the early screening?
No, I will be out of town.
Mm.
Yeah, I heard about the I heard about the Amazon early streaming. I mean, early viewing a little bit late,
Yeah,
and
fair.
and starting this week for the next 2 weeks is going to be mandatory overtime for my job. Getting
Ooh.
those. Prime deals out for the people.
Right,
Uh,
right.
yeah. So I was just telling Didge about a video I saw from a creator, um, Anthony Gramula, Gramuglia. He makes a lot of good videos, mostly about comics and some about media literacy.
Okay.
Um, I watched. He made like a 3.5, 4 hour video going over the grifters who didn't like Ironheart. Um, and he like went over their videos and broke down like each of their main complaints. The first guy he did, it was cool because he was just like, he was like, I like the show. Um, and while I don't agree with this guy, the guy who he listens to, he's like, although this guy doesn't like the show, I can at least disagree with him intellectually on his points. But the next three people that he went to, they pretty much had all the same talking points. And it was like
Oh, okay.
breaking dog whistles and different things like that, and broke down how they don't actually have a critique of the character. And at some point, it seemed like they didn't even really watch the show, or they knew
Right.
they could get away with stuff because they knew the people listening to them won't watch the show, so they can get away with lying about certain things and critiquing certain things. He's also going after some people who had issues with the way Superman is depicted in this, in the trailer, by him looking beaten up, and was just like, oh, Superman's supposed to be strong, and not really, and people not really understanding, that is a thing, that it's not Superman being hurt is not a is not them making Superman look weak. It's just pointing out like, oh, so the thing who hurt him must be, he's gonna have a real challenge ahead of him. But I was telling you about the latest video he did was about how they went from Superman, um, talking about truth, justice, and American way, going to truth,
Mm-hmm.
justice, and better tomorrow. They had Dean Cain. That I okay. What Dean Cain is one of those actors, like, because I I I had only known him from playing Clark, Superman on Lois and Clark: New Adventures of Superman. That's the only thing I had never known him from, and it was just like, so in my mind, in my nostalgia, whatever. I was just like, anytime I saw him, I was like, okay, I'm supporting it because that's Superman. He plays Superman. He's cool. Blah 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 blah.
Sure, sure.
Until getting older, and now he's on this Fox News shit, and it's like, he
Yeah.
have you
I'm
seen any of this?
I ain't gonna hold you. Other than like I'm looking at his filmography, like he might have been in stuff that I've seen. Like he's definitely been in stuff that I've seen, but outside of the Superman stuff, I even that like I wasn't a huge fan of that Superman one.
Okay,
So it's not like I was like, oh yeah, that's what he's just another Superman actor for me. Like I
yeah,
think he's one of the lower Superman actors. Like there are definitely people who put on the
oh
role
yeah,
way better than him. So it's like,
yeah. It's yeah, especially after since then. But it's just like it's one of those nostalgia things. It's just like I was a kid in the '90s, and
yeah,
so growing up, it was just like, okay, that was my. I didn't watch George Reeves. I liked Christopher Reeves, but this is modern Superman. It's just like, okay, like I remember them, learning later that how much control they had over it, and basically how much the industry doesn't care about comics, and the fact that comic book they made the comic writers wait to have Superman, Clark, and Lois get married because they wanted to go on a TV show first.
Interesting.
So
Like I
they,
said, yeah, that series. I think maybe because I was too young,
yeah,
it wasn't because like if we're talking the Superman series that you grew up with, for me it's Smallville, and
right.
obviously that's what four years after this one. So
Mhm.
any feelings that I probably would have had, like yeah, this is the Superman I grew up with. Smallville blew that out the water. Like that's the seminal, and even before both of those, it's the animated series.
Right,
So this, like I said, he was just he's somebody who put on the cape, whatever. But he was never like, oh, that's my Superman. And then, especially after that, like I, he had bit parts and stuff that I've seen, but like nothing. I was like, yeah, Dean Cain killed it. Like
right.
he's a footnote to me.
I'll tell you this: I didn't know the dude was Asian.
I didn't know that until just this second. His actual last
I
name is Tanaka. I see that now.
see, that's that. Okay, quick tangent, and it actually goes with the way Superman is portrayed and how people, uh, you know, like to mischaracterize him and whatnot. It kills me when certain people who are passing change their last name or change their names so that you don't know that they, may be a different ethnicity, and then proceed to kind of grift on the thing of, oh, America is great. We are accepting of everybody. We do, there's no racism, there is no this, that, and the other. It's just like, okay, cool. Why'd you change your name?
So to be fair, because I was curious about that, and obviously I was on Wikipedia looking up his filmography. His name did change because his mom remarried when he was a kid. So
Uh,
they all just took the new dad's last name.
but it's the thing, it's like, it's one of those things like I wouldn't, and I don't care. It's like, I never, one of the other creators I wanted to blur without fear, he was talking about something, and people were saying like, anti-Asian hate. I was like, anti-Asian hate. I'm like, and they said Dean Cain, like Dean Cain white, and they was like, yeah, he's. I was like, what?
Yeah,
I was
no,
like,
that
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 is.
that shocked me too.
But no, but they'll call this dude up. I remember they called him up for something on Fox News about something about Captain America. I was like, that's not even the same. It was something stupid, and they called him up. He had some sound bite of like, oh, if I was still playing Superman, I wouldn't be able to say truth, justice, and American way anymore. And it's just like, oh, okay, like, so what's wrong with Better Tomorrow? It's like, it's one of those things to where they will take like one panel out of context, and it's like, because once again, the people who they're talking to don't read the books, they don't read the source material.
Right,
They just know, oh, they can't. What's wrong with American way? It's like, because Superman views himself as a force of good for everybody.
right. It to be honest, it sounds better anyway. Like
Right.
if we being real,
And
but
yeah, and as
it's not
Anthony,
patriotic enough, I guess.
but as Anthony pointed out in the book, where he does this in a way, and funny enough, is one of the reasons why Captain America doesn't do certain stuff, because Captain America, even though he is not an agent of the American military, if he goes certain places, he knows it will be looked at as an act of America because he's wearing the American flag.
Right,
And so I'm just like, I want to be able to do good around the world, and I want to be able to get involved in certain things. And so, as saying he denounced his U.S. citizenship or whatever, it allows him to say, I am not part of the American military. I'm not seen here by the government. I am a citizen of the world. So that when he does stuff, it's not, oh, America did. It's like, no, it's not America. It's me, Superman. I'm doing this.
so one other thing that's really crazy about him stating that as Superman, he wouldn't be able to say that if he was being this anymore. I'm in this article that I'm reading for Variety. He never even said that in his series. He just said, "I'm fighting for truth and justice." So it's like you didn't even say it when you were Superman. Don't come back and be
Exactly.
mad about it.
Right? It's like that's there's nothing to point out. Even in Superman Returns, they didn't say it. Perry goes, he's like, is like, see if he's still fighting for truth, justice, and all that other stuff.
Yeah,
It's
they
like,
said that the last time that a Superman project has said it was the Christopher Reeve ones, and I don't even know if it's in all of them. It might have just been in the 1978 one.
yeah, I think it was the first. Yeah, like you said, it's like they're upset about something that he himself. I think like when the few times when the last few times he said it was in the book was so funny about truth, justice, and American way, where
Right,
he basically Superman versus the elite, and it's a thing of like I advise everybody to go check out the video because he talked about how a couple things. He talked about some things that we talked about before. I don't think it was in this video, but another one about because they he talked about why injustice is kind of a bastardization.
mm-hmm.
Uh, I don't think that was the video. It was something else, and I was excited because I was just like, yes, it's like I was telling my wife like, yeah, me and Dean talk about this, like why that sucks because after we because I try to reading more after we talked I had recently read this Justice Society of America run called Thy Kingdom Come. It's like technically a sequel to the Kingdom Come um, story. I think that was by Alex Ross and was it Jeff Johns? No,
The Superman Kingdom Come. That one might have been Jeff. Let me check. Jerry Siegel. So Alex Ross. Oh, I don't know I don't know Joe. I didn't know there was four. I do know the name Joe Shuster and Jerry Siegel, but Mark Wade. I don't think I know any
okay,
of.
okay, yeah, Mark Wade. Okay,
Let me
Mark
see.
Wade is awesome.
Oh, he did World's Finest. Never mind. I do know Mark Wade.
Yeah, World's Finest is dope. Okay, so it Kingdom Come is a book about a future where um, older heroes, Joker decides to get, and I'm gonna tie this to Injustice. He decides to set off a kryptonite gas bomb in
Mm.
the Daily Planet, kills all the people. Lois is there, and she tries to stop him. He kills her. Superman gets there just too late, and he basically crushed her skull, like bashed her head and whatever, and he couldn't save her. And so he brings her to he arrests Joker and a hero called Magog murders Joker like in cold blood, while Superman brings him in, and the people cheer for it. And Superman is like so disgusted that he abandons humanity. And then the younger generation of heroes starts just
Yep, I do
killing.
know this run.
And it's a thing of like, by the time Superman comes back, people aren't listening to him anymore. It's a good book. But this was a sequel in a JSA book because the Kingdom Come Superman comes to the post-crisis Earth at that time, and he's there. And he's telling them what happened on his Earth, and he's an older Superman. He has great temples, and he's. I think this was just after Infinite Crisis
This
because
is the
they
one that for people who watch the Arrowverse, this is the one that Brendan Routh's character was essentially supposed to be.
right, yeah, because he had the same suit. That was a great suit.
Yeah, it was.
Um, but yeah, it was a pretty good. But yeah, it's a thing of you know, it's once again just to tie up with Injustice. Joker does something, and in this one, he doesn't trick Superman into killing Lois. He kills Lois himself. along with all his friends in a deadly planet. And one of the things that Lois is like telling him, she's like, he wants revenge, and Lois is just like, no, don't do that. Don't let them take that away from you. Don't let them take away from Clark. It's like that's one of the things at the end of this story that he realizes because the main continuity Lois is talking to Kingdom Come Superman, and it's even hard for him to look at her, and she's just like, I want to hear about your story, blah 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 blah. And she notices just like you seem detached. She's like, when was the last time you've even been Clark? And once again, this is thing of like how Clark Kent is like the core of Superman. That is who he is, and his connection to humanity extends more to just the person he's having sex with.
Right,
And so
right.
and so that goes back again to our critique of injustice that he throws away everything, you know, because Lois and his unborn child is dead. He throws all that away and descends into being a dictator. Um, I know in the video they also talked about how Superman became kind of looked at as a lapdog for the government, thanks to um, what's his name, Frank Miller,
Oh,
Returns. It's like that also became like a thing of like, oh, Superman represents America, like the not like America, like the idea of the people, like no, the like American government. And
mm-hmm.
it's one of the reasons I don't particularly like Dark Knight Returns. I don't really like that universe because I greatly disagreed with his portrayal of Superman in that he's just obeying what the president does because he's a bootlicker or whatever. It's like there's a lot, I understand the whole getting Batman back to being dark and gritty and everything Frank Miller has done. He's a legend.
Yeah.
It's like, but yeah, I don't really like that. It's like I guess it's like from what you said about the
It's
you know okay.
no, I was just gonna say it's one of those things where and I'm not even just saying that this is a solely a Frank Miller thing. It happens a lot of times with stuff that pits Batman and Superman together in order to try to make Batman feel like I feel like he's supposed to always feel like the man of the people. Like he doesn't have obviously doesn't have powers. He's granted he's a billionaire, so it's like he's not the average person, but it's like he's showing that every man can fight, and it's because of that, they utilize Superman to be too much of the antithesis when you don't necessarily have to. You can talk about their differences in a completely separate way where um I think that's sort of also the reason why I had James Gunn and obviously we only seen the preview so far, but even in the previews that he went so hard on saying like, no, I'm doing this for me. I'm doing this because of me. Because I think so many times when they want to show that Batman is the person who's going to get the job done, they want to. So many authors use Superman as, like you said, the voice of the American government, and that's not necessarily what he is.
Hmm. Yeah, when no way, and it's because of Frank Miller to where we have them, starting like post crisis, have this antagonistic um relationship because before that they had the early World's Finest Comics. They were best friends. They were
Right.
friends, and then Crisis on Infinite Earths happened, and they rebooted, and now they don't know each other. Now, they're getting to know each other again. Stuff is rebooted. They don't trust each other. But they're slowly starting to be friends. Because I want to say by the time Superman dies in the 90s, they still aren't. that close. They're close enough to where Superman does give Batman the kryptonite ring because it
Mm-hmm.
was something that was used against him. He does give him that, but they're still like getting to know each other. But with the weird retcons and stuff that DC does, they eventually got to the point to where it's just like, okay, they are best friends and close and whatnot. But yeah, they're the ones who started that. The whole, them being antagonistic and Superman for the government. But yeah, he really does it. He's like he will defer to them out of respect, but he's like, you don't tell me what to do. It's like I will help. I would do stuff like even when because like even when Lex was president, is like he's just like I'm not listening to you.
I'm not doing what you say. Like,
Right. He's like, I don't trust you. He's like, he didn't open. He's like, I don't, yeah. But it is. I know one thing I meant to ask you that I didn't get the chance to the first time. What are some of your favorite Superman projects?
just in general.
Yeah.
Um, so obviously, first and foremost, the Superman animated series that was probably the first Superman project that I had saw.
Hmm.
Just because that came out when I was a kid, I was eating up all those superhero shows. So I think just for it being the first one, it holds a special place in my heart. And one, it's great. Smallville, I already talked about that. I really love that. I really like this CW. I am on record talking about how terrible the CW series, how I don't like the CW stuff. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
say terrible. I think they all lasted. I usually say 2 or 3 seasons too long. Um, but I really enjoyed Superman and Lois. Like
Yeah.
I thought that was great. Um, if we're going to strictly over to the comic side, All Star Superman is amazing. I had read that for the first time not too long ago, maybe about a year or two ago. Um, so that was phenomenal. Um, Obviously, the Death of Superman, that whole that I essentially it's a trilogy. Death of Superman, Return of Superman, Reign of Superman, all of those amazing. Um, And then I like going back to read some of the super old Superman stuff. Like they're definitely like comics were definitely way more corny back in like the 60s and 70s.
Oh God. Yeah.
um, but those are the Superman stories that my dad grew up on. So I like going back to just reading the random stuff with there and then just going to talk to him about it and just like, do you remember this comic book? And like I don't he doesn't know them necessarily all. Like I couldn't go, hey, do you know this run? But like
Hmm.
as I'm telling him the story, he'll go in it, it'll trigger his memory, and he's like, now we're having conversations. And because I'm just quickly reading through them, it's like a whole wealth of knowledge that he knows that I'm not getting the experience of because I'm just trying to quickly read through it on my iPad or whatever. And so just going back to talk to him and hearing it from his perspective it's a lot of fun. I also I can't believe I I know people don't like all of the Christopher Reeve Superman movies, but I think because I watched them at the same time I was watching Superman the animated series, they
Yeah.
I am definitely biased. Like they hold a special place for me too. Um, I think I gave a wide berth there. I haven't gotten the Superman game that I want. The Superman game on 64 was not it.
Oh God.
So WB Games, if you are listening to this, please give me a proper Superman game. You'll have my wallet day one.
No, they rather have the Suicide Squad kill him.
Oh, that was so disappointing. That
Yeah.
entire game was just. Then when I thought we were getting something decent with Wonder Woman, you see
They
what they
cancel
did.
that.
Yeah, you see what they did with that game. So WB Games, if you could just give me something DC that is proper, again, you'll have my wallet day one. I would love you forever.
yeah, and to think of it, it's just like they see how well God of War has done. A
Serious.
Wonder Woman, a Wonder Woman, like Greek mythology and all that stuff on Themyscira. Exploring the island, going on quests. The combat, the sword. It's like they could have made an awesome game, and it's like, nah, she's a woman. We don't want to
It's
take the risk.
yeah, it's so disappointing. I don't get it, to be honest, but maybe that's why I'm not a game developer.
It's I don't know. Yeah, it's frustrating. Just like with how they canceled the they canceled the single player Black Panther game, right?
So there were essentially two single player ish Black Panther. Because there's one, the Black Panther, uh, I forgot. I
And
think it's called like Marvel. Yeah, that one. So that one's still in the works. But yeah, the
well,
one that was just Black Panther, that one did get canceled.
yeah, and that's another one where it's like you're leaving money on the table. I wonder if they felt like, oh well, since he's gonna have one with Captain America, it would be too weird to have one by himself. And it's just like you don't say that for Wolverine. You could put Wolverine in 50 million things and still have his own
I
game
mean,
with Black
to be fair, the Wolverine game is also in very dire straits right now.
Panther. But I was gonna say, yeah, super. I think I think because the Batman animated series was so groundbreaking and such a distillation of everything Batman, I think that people don't you don't often see people give as much credit to the Superman animated series being that for Superman as much as we give that for Batman. I don't think though, because it's from Bruce Timm.
Right.
I was watching something yesterday about this, how initially they wanted to use the old Flesher style uh, for the series, but Bruce Timm wanted to go for a more futuristic look, which I love
Interesting.
the Flesher, Max Flesher shorts. For people who don't know, that's like the people who made Popeye. Those
Yeah.
shorts. Those are some. I really enjoy those. Just I will watch a little marathon of those just because I love the animation style. It's just a quick in and out Superman story. You know, uh, him doing stuff, fighting robots, fighting a giant prehistoric lizard that was trapped in ice, but somehow got the ice melted. Now he has to fight this thing. But a lot of sci-fi stories, um, they wanted to use that style, but Rusev wanted to go for more futuristic, and that kind of caused a split between him and somebody else that was going to be working in the series. But I like the futuristic style because it separated him from Batman even more
Hmm.
in terms of Metropolis is like the city of tomorrow. It's like Superman's the man tomorrow. Metropolis is, this shining beacon of the city, of what the city could be, and all this stuff. Um, I like the theme. I liked the the look of it. They did. I didn't know initially they wanted kind of like a Batman the Brave and the Bold uh concept for the show, to where each episode they wanted him teaming up with like a couple Justice League members for each show.
I mean, yeah. I
And
mean, a ton of people pop up. Obviously, I think I know that I remember the episode with the Flash. Obviously, that
yeah,
Aquaman shows up. Like, so that hearing that makes sense just from
yeah,
knowing all of the people who showed up. But I could honestly that show from down to design to everything. I think I probably was 5 when that show came out. So that was right in the heart, watching WB Kids
Right.
every weekend. And so that was Superman to me, like from design and I mean even the characters around it. Like when I when I first started watching the CW, they started showing, they started branching out. It's like when you're getting Jimmy Olsen, I'm like, this is not how Jimmy Olsen looks because I seen Jimmy Olsen and it was
Right.
like obviously I was old enough where it's like I'm not gonna be like, oh, this is how it was, whatever. But it was just like those that was always my basis of designs. Like whenever I would do fan castings or anything, that was my basis for years because that was my Superman.
Right. I didn't even quick thing that's funny. Uh, everyone knows they had Batman animated series, Superman, and then they combined them in the Justice League, and that was the DC, the DC AU, the
Yeah.
DC animated universe, predates the MCU. Although they did have the Marvel Comics cartoons that did kind of have a shared
Yeah.
universe. Uh, but yeah, they did that. Although they did retcon Aquaman. If you remember when Aquaman shows up in Superman, he is not the same Aquaman that shows up in Justice League. It,
Mm,
it's not even the same. He doesn't have the same design. He doesn't. The voice actor is different.
let me
Um,
look.
Miguel Fiera. He's George Clooney's cousin. He unfortunately passed, but yeah, um
Oh
he
yeah, it's
played
completely different.
yeah, and it's funny enough he has the way he as far as the facial his head and like the way he talks. It's funny. He reminds you more of Namor in that episode than he does Aquaman when he shows up later in the Justice League.
Yeah, this is interesting. I guess I wonder what caused that.
Yeah, because they still have the same Flash. It's still Wally West as Flash. That's still Wally. Um, they do mention Kyle later in Justice League. He shows up later, even though they wanted John um, for the series. But yeah, I always thought that was interesting. Um,
That
I
is
will
really
say
interesting.
it did not have the same type of when I say mature, I'm not, I'm not talking about like, explicit, the same type of mature or it's, I would say kind of like sophisticated writing as Batman the animated series had for a lot of his characters and different things. Uh, the animation wasn't always as good. It was never bad, but it was never as groundbreaking as the Batman animation was because I think around by that time they had switched to a more blocky, simplistic animation style.
See, I've heard people say that, and I think it's because you got too used to the Batman style. Like the Batman one, when I granted, I don't know what like general consensus was. I was obviously way too young when the Batman one first came out.
Hmm.
Um, but from hearing people who are older than me to talk about it, they always talk about how we had never seen anything like the Batman animated series when it first came out. So when you're something that is brand new and like you are completely game changing, you almost have a benefit. Like think about like when we first saw the first Matrix,
Yeah.
like how when Trinity jumps and it spins and she got that leg up, that was
Hmm.
like, yo, we've never seen anything like this. Where when you get to the Matrix 2 and 3, and granted, there are worse movies, but just from even from an effects standpoint, they're doing very similar to what the first one did. But by now we're like, we've kind of seen this. You haven't really evolved it. It's sort of you know you're probably the people who are doing it. You know some more tips and tricks on how to do it, so you might have cut a little bit more corners because it's easier. It looks similar enough that you're okay. But I think it's a situation like that where it's we've seen this, and you aren't evolving enough to where I feel like you're doing something groundbreaking again. It almost feels as if the perception of it is you just kind of did more of the same, and
Well,
probably even a quicker job at that because now you have like the efficiencies and whatnot.
I will push back on that because if you look at the first few seasons of Batman the animated series, and then look at it when it becomes the new adventures of Batman and Robin or the new adventures of Batman, where he goes from the blue and gray suit with like the yellow on the black emblem
Mm-hmm.
to the black and gray suit, you can tell the difference in the animation style from that series to what it was previously.
Okay.
And that's what they moved to um for how they moved to when Superman the animated series. Because when they had the world's finest, Batman had that's when I think that's the first time we saw the new Batman model. Because even Bruce Wayne doesn't look the same. You
Right.
know, he's slimmer. He is more upright. He's more angular. They definitely changed the models and different things. They definitely changed the style. It was never bad. It just wasn't always as expressive as it was. I think about the probably one of the greatest examples, the Clayface uh Face of Clay episode where Batman is showing Clayface all the uh images that he used of him when he used to play, and you can see his body just start changing, whatever. Um it does remind you of, I guess, anime, the how fluid it was, whatever, in Batman's movie, and there was a lot of stuff to where like his cape would flow. It's like he'd move and his cape would be flowing behind him or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and the later shows just didn't have that style of animation. Um,
That's fair.
yeah, but um there was a really dark point in one of the episodes where Clark is investigating something and somebody tries to kill him. And his car, and they bomb his car, and so he escapes, and and he thinks that he basically kind of he spends the episode kind of have a crisis of, I can't go back to being Clark because people saw my car blow up or whatever.
Yeah. That was the late Mr. Kent.
Yeah, and
That.
he got happy. Yeah, he got happy when he found out that the person who saw it was just like kind of visually impaired, so he could come
Mm-hmm.
back. That episode was dark because the guy who tried to kill him was like a cop or whatever, and at the end he figures out that Clark Kent is Superman right as he's about to be executed.
Yep.
And it's like I was like, damn, that's dark. It's like one of those things. It's like watching as I'm older, I was just like, wow. I was like, number one, that is very quick how they went, took this cop and he's on the death penalty. It's like, how long a jump of time did they do this? Um, but yeah, it's like there's some episodes from the animated series that I always look back to. One of them being, of course, the episodes, like I said, World's Finest, um, the episode with the Flash and all that stuff. What else was I really loved? I just thought of it. I can't think of it now.
Honestly, I
Um,
like how it's starting with that the last son of Krypton, that entire
yeah,
arc. Um I loved how it started just because like even it gives you that whole story essentially. Like that was a mini movie in a sense,
Yeah.
and I feel like it sets the tone for the series already. Like you see how his father, how much he's trying to save, his planet, and
Hmm.
even with the Brainiac sort of um discounting. I don't know if discounting is the right word to use here, but just sort of like he's trying. Like I gave him the data. I know, and I know what the data is saying, and
Yeah.
the consistent fight for being like I'm trying to fight for our people. I think that really shows what he was trying to instill in his son. And
Yeah.
obviously, we know Mom and Pop can't raise Superman, but it shows that it's also from nature too. Like it's nature.
Right.
The question is always nature versus nurture, and I think this is showing that sometimes it's both.
Right. One thing I will say, in the same way that Batman the animated series gave kind of like perfect versions of villains that the comics had kind of ignored, like the version of Mister Freeze that we got in Batman the animated series revolutionized that character. He
Mm,
was like a joke throwaway character before that. And like even like under the Red Hood, he like fights Freeze at first, and like Freeze was just like some, they didn't even really have a toy for. It's like they made that version of the character like eventually canon in the comics because that was a great version of the character.
right.
Superman animated series did that for Brainiac. Brainiac, I didn't know until I recently. Uh, I knew from watching other stuff, but I read Superman Brainiac by Jeff Johns, art from Gary Frank. Um, it's a great story. They adapted it in the Superman Unbound animated movie. I don't
Okay.
like the art style to that movie, but they, after reading the book, they adapted it pretty well. It was basically Brainiac. It basically says, retcons that like, Supergirl is traumatized by the fact that uh the her little section of Krypton that was blown off, they were attacked and assimilated by Brainiac. And so when she sees a Brainiac drone, she has a panic attack because she
Right.
remembers what that is. And so like Superman flies to meet him, and he's faced Brainiac before, but Brainiac used to be a different type of character. Brainiac didn't used to be like this Ultron type character. He used to be a dude with like psychic powers, and he had like a little mustache and everything. Um, but like that was it wasn't that version of Brainiac is the version that most people know. And like the animated series revolutionized that, and they, eventually went towards that in the comics, to where he's like this kind of techno-organic, being, and he wants to collect, information and whatever by taking these planets. And it was cool because he is a threat to Superman. He kicked Superman's ass for most of that book.
Mm,
Um, he even like takes some of his memories, like the equipment he has is strong enough to pierce his skin. He like, they jab stuff. It's always funny when they like jab stuff in his head. But then when he takes them out, there's like no wounds or there's no bleed. It's like, but the art is amazing too because the art is from uh, let me see.
oh, for the book, I was just looking up the movie, but let me see. Does it? Uh,
You still see me?
it's on your tablet screen.
Okay, yeah, sorry. 'Cause I'm trying to see if I can go to it because the art. Gary Frank, he is great at he's a great um he's a great artist. He has okay. I think I read it in my other thing. But he draws his Superman to look just like Christopher Reeves.
Okay.
Oh, here it is. And it is beautiful. It's like when I tell you he looks just like look at that.
Oh
That is
wow.
Christopher Reeves. He is an amazing. Oh, this is also this is Brainiac. He this is a once again a thing of showing Superman's restraint. He kills Pa Kent.
Oh, okay.
It it was one of those things like this. It's like he sends something and like the dad is having a heart attack. And it was just like I'm reading this and I'm just like, oh, and I start tearing up. Because like especially like this part, he's just like he's watching this this crypt what was it? Candor.
Oh yeah.
Candor's being yeah. And he's watching, and his mom's calling him, and he can't hear it. And he's like, oh. And then that's when he's just like, and he gets there and it's too late, and it's just like, oh. And it was like I was so like reading it, and it's just like, oh, and it's just like, you see Bruce in the shadows there, because he wants to give him his space, but he's just like, my best friend's dad died. He knows how that is. Yeah, this is Superman daydreaming about going and beating Brainiac to death.
Mm.
But yeah, it's just like he, uh, and this is pretty much how he does it in the movie. It's like he knocks him out of his sterilized, uh, containment, and it freaks him out. But he just like catches him or whatever. He's like hurting him, and but yeah, like I said, the art is just beautiful.
Yeah, this art is amazing.
Yeah, I was just like, wow. And yeah, like I said, he's like, has him tied up, has the stuff in his head, and he kidnapped, he collected Metropolis, and he's just like, oh, he tries to. That's also like kind of brutal to where the robots are like killing people. They have these tentacles coming out their hands, and they're like stabbing people in the head, collecting, data from them because that's what Brainiac loves to do. But yeah, anybody who has the chance to definitely read Jeff Johns and Gary Frank's Superman Brainiac. It is um, it is amazing. This is that Thy Kingdom Come. This is that sequel I was telling you about. I want to see
Mm-hmm.
if I can find the because I want to point out the and Alex Ross is another great uh artist to where you like photorealistic um drawings
Mm-hmm.
to where he'll take pictures of people he knows as a reference and will just draw that. But this is great. I'm sorry. I'm trying to because there was like a really great point. Uh, yeah, I probably can't find it right now, but it is a pretty cool story. It's a thing of this big creature. He comes and he's like he heals a lot of. Oh, there it is. Yeah, it's like he gets to her. You know, they have this touching thing, and you see him. He's like, I'll get him. I will hurt him." She's like, "No, don't cross that line. Don't change who you are."
Right.
And she's like, "Not ever." And she's like, "Don't lose Clark. Don't lose who you are." And it's this touching thing. And it's just like it's like great art and just great uh stories of like who he is as his character, the stuff that he has to go through, the struggles and whatnot. But it's like that was I should have checked this out. What there had to be something in the 2000s. It was after the TV. It was after. Oh, okay, there I go. It was after the Superman the animated series to where they went towards that version of Brainiac. Um, yeah, because I don't think I have any. I have I do have like the rebooted, like the 1980s version of Superman, like after the Crisis of Infinite Earths. I haven't. I started reading it, um, but then I forgot how much talking they do in old comics. You talk about reading like some of the old stuff. They
Hmm.
talk a lot. I was like, I saw all their text. I was just like, I don't feel like reading all this right now. I'm gonna come back to it. It's like they do so much talking. Um, it's like I currently just got through reading this store run where he had been switched with uh, this human he was bonded to, Eric Masterson. It's like they kind of shared a body, like the two souls in one.
Okay.
And Loki had set up Thor to kill him, and so because he did that, he was banished. Because it was some edict. It's like Odin was asleep, so Eric Masterson was Thor. It's like if you see any book, any Avengers book, I want to say he was during Infinity Gauntlet. Uh, if you see a book with Thor with a beard and a helmet,
Yeah, I
that's
know
not
exactly
Thor.
which one. Yeah, I know exactly which one you're talking about.
And I didn't know that, and that was like in the 90s. Um, but like yeah, and eventually, Thor returned. They found where he was and freed him. There is so much talking. There is so much um just blatant just like them explaining the stuff that you're seeing them doing. And it's just like, wow, it's like this is in the 90s that they're still doing this.
Hmm.
And it is just crazy. There was when the crossover a little bit after that, because Thor kind of has a psychotic break because is the culmination of Odin forcing him to be Donald Blake to teach him humility, and then the kind of struggle of Beta Ray Bill taking his hammer and gaining his power, being like, "Oh, there's somebody else besides me who can wield my hammer," and then being attached to this mortal, and then it's like and like he as he said it like reduced him to bits and pieces and kind of fractured his mind, and he like started seeing this like Valkyrie chick, and she's talking to him, and he's growing paranoid and angry, and he ends up fighting. He nearly kills Beta Ray Bill twice. He fights Silver Surfer. He beats up Drax, like the old Drax when he was like big and green and had a purple cape.
Yeah.
Um, uh, he fights a bunch of people. He fights Thanos. He like gets the power gem, and him and Thanos are fighting each other. And he goes to he wants to go to Asgard to kill Odin and beat everybody whoever made him a slave. He felt was a slave. It was a crazy thing. It was a cool story. In their own way, dealing with I guess mental health and what have you. But that was a lot. And I was just like, wow, this is it was cool. I didn't like how inconsistent a lot of stuff was. They literally had I showed a friend about it, they literally had Sif. There was a way she had been drawn and colored.
Okay.
Very next the very next the very next what's his name? Uh uh issue they uh they have her looking completely different. When I say completely different, I mean it took
Which
me a
one is
minute.
it? I'm about to go look it up.
Um, it's it's collected as Thor, Blood and Thunder. Oh no, that's not what I meant to. Or was that just it? Here it is. This is how she was looking
Oh,
in
okay.
one issue. The very next issue. Who the hell is this?
Oh, they switched it up completely. Okay.
Right. It's like her hair's not that color. She wore, you know, different. It's like what? I was like, that's not the same. And this is Thor assaulting his fiance with a
Oh.
thwack. I was like, damn. I was like, if we give all this heat to Hank Pym, and when I say this is the old school where it's like they see somebody and they don't say who it is. It's like, oh no, it cannot be you. It can't be that person when they want to hide who somebody is.
Right.
But yeah, but this is who Eric Masterson. He eventually becomes his own hero. Thunderstrike. You can see he has this cool '90s ponytail and the earring. But yeah, that is, and this is a old school Drax right here. The green dude with the
Yeah.
purple. Oh, and and that's supposed to be Gamora. I wish I had an old one of Gamora because Gamora also looked hella different. But yep. But yeah, what was I going to ask you? How did you feel about the last episode of Superman? Once again, going off on tangents. How did you feel about the last episode of Superman the animated series? Because that was one that was like hit me kind of hard as a kid. The fact of like, because it's already tough the first time you see Darkseid roll up and just beat the brakes off Superman and basically like crucify him and like parade him around Metropolis.
Yeah, that was the Apocalypse Now one, right?
Yeah, and like the series finale of him, it's like they don't even really tell you what happened. It's just like him being brainwashed and corrupted by Darkseid to attack Earth, and then like them showing the people being afraid of him, and so he goes to fight Darkseid in revenge, and like the fight they have, it's just like I thought it was really bold to end the series because I'm sure by that time they knew they were going to transfer over to Justice League. But to end the series basically with part of the world forgives him, and then part of the world is now forever like I can't trust him. It's like
Yeah.
they even carry that into Justice League, to where Dr. Hamilton from Star Labs is just like, yeah, he cloned Supergirl because of his fear of Superman from the finale.
I I'm trying to remember the first time. I just rewatched it recently, so like most of my feelings, I'm trying to remember how I felt when I first watched it. And that would have been I would have been what, a 9, maybe 10. 'Cause when did that come out? The series came out what, 97? Is that
Yeah, I
right?
want to.
Oh, actually, here I got it up right here. So yeah, February 12th of
Okay.
2000. So I would have been 8. No, 7. Yeah, and so that's the series finale. This is so yeah, I would have been 7. So I definitely remember how I was feeling when I first watched it. But in my most recent rewatch, um, it's definitely an ending that I could see myself even as a kid being like, "What is this?" Like
Hmm.
because it's such a cliffhanger, right? Because
Right.
it's him and Lois kissing at the end, um, and it's sort of like things are resolved but not completely resolved. Like there's still more fallout that needs to happen. And granted, like you said, this was going into Justice League. But if I remember correctly from, and I haven't seen the first few episodes of Justice League in forever either, it's not like it picks right up from this. Like,
Right.
so even still, it's a resolution without a resolution. And
Hmm.
from my youngest days, I hate being left on the cliffhanger that I know I'm never going to get an end of. So I could fully see myself, and like I said, I remember even in my most recent rewatch being like, "Yo, there has to be more to this, right?" And I'm like, "Is HBO Max messing up? Like, do they not have the whole thing?" I forgot that last season was only like 4 episodes because they weren't really doing them as seasons. They were just sort of, and I know this just from talking to the creators of the original X-Men animated series. They would always sort of, for all of these shows, really, they would get told basically, let's say if this show was coming out in November,
Hmm.
they would get told maybe December of the prior year. Sometimes not to like January, February of, hey, we need you to do 16 episodes, 12 episodes, however many episodes that they're planning to do. Get the first one started because this series is coming out in September or whatever. So we need you to at least have September's episodes ready. Then you can start getting, on October's.
It's, that
And,
is pushing it for animation.
and so that's the thing. What they would do at the time is a lot of the animation, especially for the X-Men one, she was saying would sort of get contracted out parts of it.
Yeah.
So everything was in such constant ebb and flow where it's like we are working flying by the seat of our pants for sure. And so obviously we're, as kids, we're not thinking, oh man, we only got 4 episodes of Superman. We're just thinking Superman is back
All
or
right.
Batman is back. And so it's when you start seeing it like where they're packaging it for DVDs and stuff, you start seeing how they're split out. Like, and it's just I don't know how much of this was we just wanted to get like just to end this series out because like you said, we know Justice League is coming and all that versus this is what they wanted planned. But I again watching it as an adult, I was just like, oh, this ending is not what I need.
Yeah. That it was tough. Yeah. That. Yeah. It was messed up because it was just like they have a knockdown drag out fight, and Superman like he beats Darkseid, throws him down, and he's just like, "You're free." And the people just like look at him, and they like pick Darkseid up, and they're like going to help him. He's like, "What are y'all doing?" He's like, "I came here and freed y'all." And they're just like, and Darkseid's just like, "Yeah, you beat me, but I still rule because they're so beaten and whatever, they don't know any other way but to serve Darkseid. And Supergirl just has to show up and be like, you can't do anything. Just let's go home. And it's just like it was so down or whatever. And is I was like, man, it's like that was a cool that was a cool episode. It's like it introduced me to a lot of to people like Darkseid and the New Gods and all that
Hmm.
stuff. I remember the what's his name? The police officer the Darkseid kills like the first time he's there. Or what you said, Apocalypse Now?
Yeah, so that was like season. I don't know if they're when I look it up again, they're calling it season three again. It was just one of the episodes in my
Right.
book. Oh, like I said, that was the first time around. Oh, was that? Could that have been?
Was that Dan Turman? Was that the guy's name?
Um. Oh, let me see if it has it. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, because the one I'm saying I'm looking on Max now.
Yeah, it's that's his name.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and that was but yeah, that was that was a cool that was a very cool episode, and because that was the thing I didn't know until recently that apparently um what's his name
Oh, that
that
is.
that cop was supposed to be like Jack Kirby, like
Oh, I didn't know
that
that.
yeah, or the way he talked was like how uh was like how Jack Kirby used to talk. I was like, oh, which also they based the thing his talking pattern is kind of like that. Is like I guess is visualizing it or hearing it. That's supposed to be how he sounds or what have you. Um, I remember you talking once about the newest. Well, no, before I get to that, um, did you watch? Okay, was it Superman anime series? Superman has not had as many animated projects as Batman has.
No.
Um, I'm trying to think because I was about to ask, like, what was the other?
So
Did
there
you
was
watch? Did you watch Legion? Yeah, Legion of Superheroes.
Legion of Superheroes. I don't think I did. That's the
It
older
was.
one, right?
Well, no, actually, it was after that. That had to be like the 2000s.
Oh no,
It was
I'm looking at this is no, I because I was fully in. I was fully in. 'Cause I remember Justice League Unlimited. Unlimited was young. Was that during the first time Young Justice? Young Justice was so
yeah.
long. Like they had so many different cancellations and comebacks. But I do remember being put off by this art style.
Okay, yeah, because it was like very like more stylistic and cartoony. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because Justice League, no, Young Justice was Cartoon Network.
This is
Uh,
WB Kids again.
yeah, but I liked it. Is basically the premise of it was pre-crisis Superman, at least the story of the Legion of Superheroes coming to Clark when he before he becomes Superman, and basically taking him in the future and him basically kind of seeing the hero that he would become. That show was pretty cool. They had 2 seasons. The first season was really cool. It ends with them sending him back in time. He gets to see what the future would be like, the legacy he inspires, and they send him back in time, right, right, right the same point to where he left. because it's basically supposed to be right before he heads off to Metropolis. I think
Mm.
he's like small, he's like smaller, he's like uh you know late teens, early 20s probably. The second season picks up a few years later. He's older, and it's funny because now he's Superman, and like Lightning Lad and like the other ones used to pick on him. He picked on him because he was scrawny, and
Yeah.
it's stupid because like you're going back in time to see him before he's him, but they're still like having a disconnect of knowing who he is and seeing who he is now. Um, and like just like messing with him or whatever. And so when they finally meet up with him after he's had a few years, he's beefy Superman. And the second season is less, he's in there, but it's much more about the Legion. And they also have a cool aspect to where it's Superman, but there's also Superman X to where and
Okay.
even further further in the future, they fight this villain called Imperial X. He's a villain from the comics. He's um like basically like wipes people out. He's like destroying that Superman's time. So he goes into the past to get the Legion's help. It's basically like a Superman. Um, it's like an edgy Superman. It's basically like they mix Superman's DNA with like kryptonite or something. So he's like immune to kryptonite. Um he can like freeze people in like kryptonite energy, whatever. He has these like Superman symbol blades to come out his gauntlets. It was kind of cool.
Yep,
But
I'm looking at when this came out. I definitely remember exactly why I didn't. One, I didn't like I said, I didn't like the art style, but Justice League Unlimited had just got I don't know if it got canceled or if it just ended. Either way, that was obviously Justice League Unlimited had just came off the heels of the original Justice League animated series, so it was like that. Then Teen Titans had just ended. I remember I'm like they're canceling everything I love. I'm not watching this. And then, like I said, then the animation style wasn't great. I definitely remember being like, I am good on this.
well, speaking of animation style, that has kept me from some stuff. And I remember you talking about my adventures with Superman, and I initially was kind of put on a more anime style, and how can I put it? What I thought was unnecessary additions to his suit. It's like I don't know how to describe it. It's like I don't know if it's supposed to be shady or whatever, but it's like sorry. You
No,
can see you can see I don't know if it's like different parts of his suit or like different colors, like different shades of
yeah,
blue.
like if you look at his suit, like the upper chest area is one shade of blue, and the animation style, like the lower chest, like right underneath it, like right underneath his pecs and stuff, like to his abs, is like a
Yeah.
darker blue.
Yeah, it reminds me of like this some newer style to where they're not as bad as like some of the Marvel animation to where like the Spider-Man cartoon and what they did with the Black Panther uh centric season of Avengers Assemble to where in a bid to simplify the animation style, they like cut a lot of corners, I feel like, to where it's like there's no more like shadow or shading and it just kind of looks weird. But you watched Adventures of Superman. How is that to you?
Oh, I love this series. I it's so because it's so built around not just Superman, but the Superman, Jimmy, and Lois, like their dynamic. It's so lighthearted at moments. Like obviously it has its serious moments for sure. Season two, I feel like season two more than season one. Um, but it's very much about like it. true to its name, their adventures with Superman. So like, as much as Superman is the main character, Jimmy and Lois are very much one A and one B. So it's like they are very much one A, one B. Like it's and so I like the world that they were building. I get the trepidation from the animation style. I already watch anime,
Yeah,
so seeing this animation style, like you said, it has very much an anime aesthetic. Even down to the initial transformation for like it's I remember it made the waves across social media of like, oh, they gave Superman a magical girl transformation.
yeah,
And like I said, as somebody who loves anime, none of that would have put me off. But just the series itself, it's just I think coming off of, and I'm sure a lot of like the people who did like Man of Steel or Batman vs Superman, coming off those characterizations of Superman, or even like the Injustice and stuff, where like you're getting this almost militaristic Superman, just getting the big blue Boy Scout back, and like I said, the lighthearted nature where he is the lovable goofball, um, and seeing the flip to a Superman with it, it's been great. So like I'm super excited for season three.
yeah. I was just looking at. Yeah, I think it had good reception, so I'm pretty sure they. Well, not I'm pretty sure because the DC doesn't really seem to know what they're doing.
So the
I'm
fact that
looking
they're
forward to.
already, I was gonna say the fact that James Gunn already said that there's a I don't know if it's gonna be called like My Adventures with Green Lantern, or just, but it's a Green Lantern series set in that universe.
Okay,
So that is already for sure coming. So I think that pretty much lets you know, like, yeah, this world is staying. There's gonna be a season three. Who knows how else they're going to split it out? Like, I don't know if they're gonna ever do like a My Adventures with Batman or something. But I'm really curious to now to see that world grow.
I would prefer if they didn't. I feel like we have more than enough. I like Batman, but it does become a point to where it's just like we have enough Batman. We can do without Batman for a while. Any Batman centric is like he can show up, but we don't need any more Batman centric. It's just like there's so much Batman stuff to where like when I was going to ask you something about Superman, I was just like, oh yeah. I was like, so how do you feel like? I was like, oh no, that Superman showed up in this Batman show. I was just like, damn it.
Well, I
If,
guess in a sense, I do get you, and I understand that, but like I don't know where they're going with this world, and if they're going to build a Justice League, I don't know if I want my first experience meeting Batman to be, and let's say if they do, my adventures. I don't, like I said, it seems like the first two series are started with my adventures with, then the hero. But if it's my adventures with the Justice League, or however they're planning on doing that, um, if they're even building towards one, I don't want that to be my first entrance to a Batman. I will say.
okay, well, you know what? Since we're still on animation, did you watch any of what they call the Tomorrowverse DC animated movies?
What are they calling? Let me see what they're calling the Tomorrowverse first.
Yeah, it started with Superman, Man of Tomorrow, the Batman Long Halloween two part.
Oh yeah, I've
Uh,
seen all of these except the last Crisis Part 3 I didn't see.
yeah, I haven't. I'm actually planning on watching. I may start tonight because Max. You never know when they may leave Max. Because I wanted to watch Reign of Superman recently, and they didn't have it on there. But now I see they brought it back. I'm like, okay, I'm guessing because they figure, hey, there's a Superman movie. How about we
Mhm.
leave Superman specific content on here? I mean, especially since we freaking own it. So why don't we just leave it here? Because it's I am not one for how do they say for sailing the seven seas, if you get my point.
Yep, I do.
However, if you make it so that I can't readily get the content that you have, you don't provide a way for me to get it any other way, then I'm just going to get it the way I can get it.
Right.
Especially if I'm already paying for the service. It's like basically, if they took the stuff off, I would pretty much have no reason to be watching Max.
Yeah, I get you.
Um, but yeah, because I watch the DC stuff. I may go ahead and start the Crisis stuff. I do not like the fact of I didn't mind my critique of most of the movies. I like the movies in as much as I like the Superman World Man of Tomorrow movie. He's not really he doesn't solve the issue in that for me anyway. Uh, it's kind of Lex, but it does have a thing to where I do like the fact that he realizes like this is not a problem I can solve by punching it. I need to try to solve this a different way. Um, the I don't like the fact of like the first time we see the Justice League is in the Green Lantern movie to
Oh,
where
the
they've
Air
been
My
Justice League.
Power.
Yeah, to where oh my god, that movie. I did a review of that to where I was first of all I was annoyed by the fact that they didn't even give him John's origin. They gave him Kyle's origin. John's origin is that he became a backup Green Lantern from Hal. Like he trained under Hal for a while, so that Hal could take a break or whatever, so they could have a backup Green Lantern. And then just the way they so much stuff in that movie, I'm annoyed with. To once again, it's just like you showed this person to be powerful. You showed this one person enough to be powerful enough to kill all of the Green Lanterns. Yet the new dude somehow beats him. It's like I hate that type of stuff to where it's just like you've already shown this dude to be OP, and I was just like this. I don't. And so much I didn't like about that, but it's like you don't really get to see. You never truly get to see the Justice League in that timeline, and you also don't truly get to see.
Well, I mean, you get to see them kinda in War World. I got that on. I got that digital somewhere.
I watched that. I've been meaning to record a review on that too. But see, here's the thing: that Wonder Woman is not their Wonder Woman. That's the
Fair.
Wonder Woman from the Justice Society, from the world that the Flash went to. And then you don't really get to see interactions with Batman and Superman. You get to see their interaction a little bit in the movie before that, the Supergirl movie, because you're not really sure by the time the World War movie ends if they fully have their memories back. You just
Yeah,
see them
that's
kind of
fair.
interacting, and then you have Martian Manhunter, and I'm just like, is that their Martian Manhunter or one from a different reality? Because Martian Manhunter knows Superman from the first movie, from Superman's movie. Yet when he's interacting with them, in no way does he act as look. There's in no way does he respond to Superman as somebody that he knows and is friends with. And it's like there's just so much with that movie. And I'm just like, and I'm like, that's not Mongo at all. It's like I've seen him fight Mongo. It's like that doesn't like Mongo in any way. But I'm gonna start probably the Crisis movies tonight. But yeah, I didn't like the fact that it's just like it's the issue I did have with the Snyderverse, and that we
Mm.
never really get to see Batman and Superman work together as friends, and that we have still yet to see a on screen world's finest collaboration. And it's like I am ready to see that. I am ready to see live action Batman and Superman be friends, be a team. And I think there is a big difference between working beside somebody and working with somebody.
Yeah.
Uh, but before I let you go, what was one more thing I wanted to ask? I know we talked about
Well, we could talk
different things.
Batman, the Batman. I guess the Snyderverse for if we're just taking like the trip to the present. I guess that would
Yeah,
sort of be the next. I don't have much to say on this because I just wasn't a fan.
yeah,
Men of Steel was cool.
yeah,
Like I didn't completely hate it. I know I did a DC rankings like of all of the DCEU films with with a group of friends of mine. I'm trying to remember where I had it. I want to say I gave it a C, and if I didn't, I probably would edit it there. And Batman versus Superman, I just didn't like it all. I, I absolutely. I know people are saying like there are saving graces to that movie. I'm gonna be honest, I don't see any. I was not a fan. Um, I think it was a terrible way to also introduce your Wonder Woman.
yeah,
So it just overall, I don't think I will say I was happy as a Superman fan that the Snyderverse sort of ended because even if we're getting into Justice League, like we had Man of Steel, then the next Superman movie you killed him. Um, and then we come back, he gets brought back in Justice League or even Snyder Cut, whichever one he gets brought back, and it's like it, it just it it was just too much. It was I don't know. Like I said, I don't have high hopes. Not high hopes. I didn't have a high view of it.
it made zero sense why they didn't make a Man of Steel 2.
Right. To go from Man of Steel to Batman versus Superman at the time, no, matter of fact, no, I was off of it immediately because no, I was initial because we heard that Batman and Superman were going to do a movie together. So I was like, yes, let's go. Then I heard it was Batman versus Superman. I was like, well, I'm off. This. Why are we doing this? So,
Yeah. So a friend of mine, we always is always a joke that once we start talking about Batman, the Snyderverse, we just start rolling off into a tangent of stuff that we start thinking about that pisses off about the movie.
mm-hmm.
And like initially, I got to see Man of Steel early because I was working at Walmart at the time, and they had a thing to where they gave us early screening tickets to like we got to go to a theater.
Oh, that's fire.
Uh, they had a thing of Zack Snyder and I think Christopher Nolan. They had a little thing before the show. My shift went. We got to see it. I was like, okay, cool. I even bought the DVD.
Oof.
I have my issues with Man of Steel. I have a lot of issues. It's one of those things where I liked it initially, but it's just like a lot of this doesn't work. The whole John Kent stuff never worked for me. It's the thing of given given who we know Superman to be, and given how they've shown us that he's been raised, I don't see how we get that Superman based off his upbringing. Because we were told that it's always been he's raised by a kindly family. He's raised to use his powers for the benefit of others. But for all we see is them telling him if there's a chance that you see somebody die and you keep your secret.
Yeah.
You never get the sense of, hey, be a good person, use your force of good, or here's how you should do this to so people don't see whatever. We get none of that. There's even a scene in Batman vs Superman where Ma tells Clark, you can do this or don't. You don't owe these people anything, and it's just like, whoa.
Well,
It's just like,
they set that up even in Man of Steel, and obviously people have talked about it ad nauseum, so we don't have to stand
yeah,
very long on it at all. of John Kent's, like upon Kent's death. Like
Yeah.
that's the pure. I think that's the purest way to show that they just didn't get not only Superman but the Kents at all. Like
Right.
for him to just, and again, I'm not about to work myself into a tizzy about it, but just for him to just that scene where I didn't go see this in, did I go see this in, yeah, I did go see this in theaters, and it's just, I remember that scene just being like, oh, this, we not in for a good time. We are, and like I said, I think the action carries it a lot. Like obviously it was very action packed. So I
Yeah.
think at some point you just like, okay, I guess I'm turning my brain off and we just here for the action. And if one thing Zack Snyder can do really well, he can give you some good action. And so you're there, but then like you said, when you start to sit with the movie, you start to think about it, you start to ingest it, you realize like this isn't the excitement that I had initially. And like you said, I think to your point that like as it sits with time, you realize like it just wasn't it. We could have went back to the drawing board much better.
This is. I'm trying to see what is this because I'm looking for things, and IMDb is trolling. And Zack Snyder proves once and for all he knows Superman better than you and anyone else. It's just like I can't tell from the movies that you made, bro.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's such an interesting statement because it's like I watched Superman in three of your movies, and in all three of them, I feel like you didn't know.
right. I'm looking for the. I'm mad because I can't find the thing he was talking about is basically like his justification of why Superman kills Zod, and it was a
Oh
thing
wait,
of like
I've seen that before. Hold on, let me see if I think I can find it.
yeah, and it was a thing of just like you could have just not ridden yourself in that hole. Um, but yeah, I was like, I don't think
He said
he got
that he was saying that Superman essentially had no other choice. He was like he's not going to stop. He wasn't going to negotiate an outcome. So it was either Zod or us. And so that was sort of his explanation on why Superman had to kill Zod. And it's like to your point, you I don't know if he was the sole writer, but you were one of the writers,
right,
or at least you helped. You at the very least were a part of that.
right.
And it's like y'all could have just went a different direction. It's like it's not like this is the first time we've ever seen Zod. Like
Right. Yeah, and it's like there's so much um that for me I enjoyed seeing Krypton, his interpretation of Krypton, but there's so much that storytelling wise is tell not show, or at least that's what I feel he did. He tells me that Zod was bred for military. Zod was bred for combat. Zod is going to overtake Krypton, him and his people. Zod is this amazing force, and Zod handily gets his ass whooped by Zor-El, the scientist. They
well, that was the
have
other
a
thing. I was gonna say that's the other thing that they changed here. He killed Zor-El in this one.
yeah, and it's just like, and the only reason he does that is because Zor-El was distracted. He handily beat Zod in a hand to hand fight, and Zod stabs him whatever. But yeah, it's this thing of like I just remember thinking about that. It's like how is he beating up beat him up? It's just like what is like what we can't have Superman's daddy look like a punk or something. It's like no, like he's a scientist. I would be okay with this scientist being beat up by this military guy. It's like it would
Yeah.
make sense. Uh, but yeah, it's one of the things in that happened in that video I was telling you about that they talked about was their supposed constant portrayal of Superman as a Jesus figure, which doesn't make sense considering that he was created by two Jewish immigrants, um, and that he more closely represents Moses than anything else. But yeah, I am happy to see a return to, as you say, the Big Blue Boy Scout. I'm happy to see Superman actually saving people.
Hmm.
Because think about it, it's like you don't really see him saving people in any of those movies. Like you see him moving people a little bit after that bomb at the Capitol, but that's like just that one quick scene. It's like that scene goes by so quick. It wasn't until somebody pointed out to me that he does move some people, I guess, out of the way or whatever after the fact. I was just like, because I just remember him looking all sad in the explosion and then just flying off slowly, not saying anything to anybody. And somebody pointed out, I was like, no, there's a scene where he is flying people. I was like, oh yeah.
I don't even
It's like
remember that scene.
right, but beyond that, until he saves, he's carrying that apartment building from that reactor, in Justice League, which doesn't make sense because it's like he stops the fight to go save these people, which yeah, is very Superman, but it's also like you can just end this right now and
Yeah,
they're not going to be in danger. Um, but yeah, but that is just the whole, and I have I've decided I have not devoted the 4 hours to watch a slightly better cut of Justice League to see him in the black suit, which doesn't make sense because I'm just like, where did he get the suit from? He got the suit from the ship. Where is he getting these new suits from?
yeah. So I did watch the Snyder cut, and I'm gonna be honest, it wasn't worth it to me. It I didn't watch it all in one sitting. Like I watched, cause the way it's cut is like parts, so it's like you'll see Act One, Act Two. I think there's four parts. But I watched it over the course of 2 days essentially, and it's better than Justice League for sure. So like, I
Mm-hmm.
will give them that. Like it's for sure. Like if this was the vision that Zack Snyder was going for, I do see where the cut of Justice League sort of ruined it, but also it's not that much better. It's like I said, it's better, but it's not like leagues above better, at least in my opinion.
I also believe that it is somewhat capped that this cut is what he was going for because there's stuff like the addition to Martian Manhunter, which undercuts other parts of the story and other parts of the series that just doesn't make sense given it's just like
I don't know his full. I don't know his full. Because obviously I do know that they shot that like in his backyard or something like that. I remember reading about that.
my
Um,
thing is how big is your backyard you can film it. I was like, damn.
Well, so I don't. So, that's right. You didn't see it. So the scene itself, it very much like not in terms of quality, but I can very much see how this is somebody's backyard. Like if he must have a house that sits on some land where it's just a wide open space off to the side. Because
Yeah.
essentially, Green Lantern, he or no, I'm sorry, was it Green? Was that the? It was Green Lantern. That was the scene that they shot. I might be mistaken. What might not have been a Martian Manhunter one. Oh, I'd have to double check now. Because now I think it was Green Lantern because essentially you just see him hovering. That's really
Okay.
the sense of the scene. So it's
Okay.
like it's a wide open shot. So like if you have a big enough yard, you can bring your camera back far enough where you can get this wide open shot. And I'm trying to remember now. Let me see which one it was he shot in the backyard.
I do remember I think the apocalyptic scenes he shot, which I'm just like, this isn't going anywhere. Why are you doing all this stuff? But no, I'm talking about the scene where Martian is Lois and Martha talking, and then Lois leaves, and then you find out that was Martian Manhunter. It's just
Yeah,
like
I
what?
got the 2 scenes. I got the 2 scenes mistaken. It was the Green Lantern shot that was shot in his yard.
Oh, okay, I don't know,
And
but it's just
yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it's again, it's better. So I'll give him the benefit of, yeah, look, they because of their cut they put out a worse film, but also still again at the end of the day, your cut wasn't much a much better film.
right. It's like Superman didn't act like Superman. He shows up. I'll say this, and we can get ready to wrap up. One of my annoyances, besides just so much of that, is just Batman is murdering these criminals. And I say murdering because he's like shooting them with bullets. He's not shooting them to stop them. He's like shooting them and then rolling over the car after it explodes. Um, I can't remember. I think this was like after they find some kryptonite because they just do shit. They
Mm.
have kryptonite. They never explain to you how Lex knows that this will hurt Superman. They don't even really know anything about it. They don't show. They have some of that in the Ultimate Edition, even though I don't think they have the test for that. They do show you Batman breaking in and stealing it, but like he doesn't know that it will hurt Superman. None of them have anything to show what this effect will have on Superman, but they just know it will hurt him for some reason. Uh, Superman shows up, the Batmobile bounces off Superman, and he's just like, the next time they show that they shine a signal in the air, don't show up. The Batman's dead. And my thing is, are you going to catch the people he was chasing? Because you're supposed to be a reporter. If you've done any type of important reporting or investigative work, you do know that although you don't agree with his methods, that Batman does fight crime, that Batman does fight criminals. So if he's chasing these guys, even if he's doing it very extremely, you don't even want to know who these people are, why he's chasing them. You're just going to let them escape.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's a lot of flaws.
Yeah, and it's just like the way he's talking. It's just like even when they're fighting, hey, he has my mom. We don't have to fight. He's doing everything. He just shows up. We have to talk. It's like it's like I hate they did that. I hate when they have characters all of a sudden unable to communicate. We have to talk. It's like it's just so irritating because like visually the movies are cool. There's a lot of great imagery, but as far as the story, as far as the characterizations, he didn't really get those characters. He didn't really understand what makes Superman Superman. You know that there's supposed to be a difference in the way we look at Superman and Batman. I don't need both of them to be walking around all dark and brooding. I need
Right.
one of them to be the whole. He spent the whole movie telling us the symbol on his chest meant hope. And not one time in any of these damn movies that I feel hopeful when he was around.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong.
And I think I will end it on that. The hopeless Superman and I would say look up. I'm mad that they had a not fireworks, a drone show at the Arch here. They had like drones flying around. They made the DC
Mm-hmm.
symbol, and then they made a shirt and opened up with the Superman symbol. And I was like, "When the hell was this?" It was like, I guess it says the 4th of July. I'm like, I didn't go to work till like almost 12. I could have saw this. I'm like, damn it.
Dang, I'm about to see if I can find it.
Yeah, I'll send it to you on Instagram. It was dope. Um, but then tell the people what you're working on, where they can find you, what you're doing.
Yeah, you can find me at DigD everywhere. That is GIDGEDEE. Literally everywhere. So, on my YouTube page and over on Twitch, I'm playing through a couple games right now. So finishing up Claire Obscure Expedition 33. Get back to Black Myth Wukong, and then just on my YouTube page, I'm starting a series that hasn't start. The first episode hasn't come out yet, but it's gonna be replaying the Godfather game. And then outside of
What?
that, the first one there. So that,
Okay.
yeah, let's say I think it came out what? Ooh, I want to say 07, 08. I know it came out for PlayStation 2. So I'm gonna replay that. And then obviously over there on the Geek Set podcast page where we are doing our podcast weekly, and we got some other stuff that is in the works that we're just sort of trying to figure out release dates for.
Okay. Uh, you guys know me, just sparse. Putting out this, trying to read some stuff, put out some other stuff. I know these guys; they just did their review on the last three episodes of Ironheart. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I was probably just record mine probably later on tonight or tomorrow. Give my thoughts on it. Uh, I know I gave my thoughts on all the hate it was getting beforehand, and
Yeah, it was
not,
getting too much hate.
yeah, and not understanding how if you don't like something, if all the Marvel TV shows have sucking, why are you wasting your time on it? It's like I'm on my show right now talking about the Snyderverse and what I didn't like about it. I'm not going out of my way to go to other posts of people who do like it and being like, oh, it sucked. It's just like, why? If they like it, I'm going to let them like it. How much of a loser do you have to be to go to something that you say you don't like, that you don't want to see, and talk about how it sucks before even seeing it or whatever? And it's just like, whatever. Let me stop before I get heat. Uh, that stuff bothers me because we all know why they do it and, the reason why. And then they act like, oh, if you say you don't like it, it's because, you're racist. It's just like, no, it's the racist reasons that you said that makes you racist.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can check out Vogue Expressions on YouTube. This like the other one is being live streamed, so you can check this out. You can now listen to it on audio, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever podcasts can be found. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. You know where to find me. Thank you to my guests. Once again, as I always say, he could have been doing anything else with his Sunday night. He chose to be here with me. Thank you all for watching this.
Thank you
Like
for
and
having
subscribe.
me.
Yeah, it was great. I appreciate it. I wanted to make sure it's like yeah, I detoured so much from the last time. It's like yeah, I had to get you back to talk about some of the stuff, some of the Superman stuff that you did like
Right.
the series. So I think I will give Adventures of Superman a chance because
It's such a good series. I highly suggest it. I definitely I get the animation being sort of the thing that gives you pause.
yeah.
But it's I don't know. It's a good time.
Do you care for? Damn it! I didn't want to. Okay, I'll do this real quick. Do you like Jack Quaid as the voice of Superman?
Yeah, he's killing it as the voice of Superman. Like obviously, uh, he doesn't have the look of Superman, but that doesn't matter for voice acting.
Yeah.
He's killing it.
Okay, because because that's one thing I meant to mention earlier. It's like having that good voice is something because like the fact of like even from Superman the animated series to Justice League, I didn't realize that going back later that they changed voice actors. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
it was Tim Daly on the Adventures of Superman. I mean Superman animated series and George Newberry or whatever. I can't remember his last name. I just remember that he was on Scandal. And then when I saw this is what it was, I'm like, that's the dude of Superman. I was like, oh, okay. But I do know that they brought back Tim Daly and Kevin Conroy for some of the animated movies to
Hmm.
have them when they came back. But yeah, it is a thing. It's like having that good voice. It's like, does this fit? Not even does it fit Superman. Does it fit the Superman that they're trying to portray right now?
Yeah,
And
and
that is
and that's, I will say, that's 100% what it does. Like that, you're like, this fits for this Superman.
okay. And that's the most important thing. I'm sorry. Okay, I got to let you go. Y'all have a good day, good night, good morning, good evening, whatever you're watching this or listen to it. And as always, don't be so busy proving your point that you forget your purpose. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, of course. My bad. It was so late. I like I said, just I'm just now going. I was off all week, so just now getting stuff ready back for work. I've been running around all day.
No, I understand. I would have came back because I thought I did the thing to where I wrote the message because I was just waiting. So I just went upstairs and ate dinner and
Yeah.
sat with my daughter for a minute. And I wrote the message and then realized I didn't send it. I was just like, oh no, yeah, I'm ready. And then I was like, oh, I didn't send it. And so I was just like, oh, well.
Yep. I get you. I get you. So, all right. Well, I will let you go. Let me know what your thoughts is on Superman once you go see it. I'm going to see it on Tuesday, so I I I
Yeah.
am I am ready.
I probably won't be able to see it until because they have me working Tuesday, but I'm gonna be taking off to go out of town for my mother-in-law. But I won't be able to see it. I probably won't be able to see it until probably the end of the month because my wife
Okay.
did say she wants to see it. So I'm
Okay.
like,
Yeah.
okay, cool.
You'll
That's
just have to
what I'm
let me
getting.
know when you get a chance to actually go see it. You have to let me know your thoughts.
Yeah, I am low key. I think that James Gunn is going to get it right with Superman. So far, from what I've seen, I think he's going to get Superman right. I
I
am
would
more
agree.
I am more interested in seeing how he does Mister Terrific. Uh,
Okay.
because I have low key become a Mister Terrific fan from reading the Terrifics series
Hmm.
because I remember seeing him on Justice League Unlimited, but they never really got into who he was. And then as I've been reading more, I'm like, oh, he's hella dope. He's really smart. He's, I try not to equate black heroes with white heroes
Right.
if I
Right.
can. But if it's the quickest way to do it, the best way I can think of it, it'd be like imagine a black Reed Richards without destruction powers, but he can also fight.
Okay.
That's
Yeah. I know.
that's the yeah. He's like as they say, he's the third smartest person on the planet, and he's pretty cool. So I'm hoping that he becomes like you know how a lot of people don't know or think about certain characters until they see them on screen,
Yep.
and then that kind of gets them a resurgence. So hopefully that happens with him.
Yeah. I get you.
All right,
So,
man.
but all right. Yeah. Let me
Appreciate
get
you.
out of here so I can edit this audio so I can have it ready for tomorrow.